And here we go. Okay, it looks like we got a full house for those that signed up and said that they were going to show up here. So let's go ahead and let's get stepped into this, because with the mission we have set up is actually starting at 13:30 local when we start it and jump into it. So the way that we're doing the briefing, we're saying that 1300 is the time right now, 1304 kind of thing, and we'll step to that point right there. So again, welcome, Red Flag Mission 1. This is kind of a test bed in a way that we're setting this up. We know we're going to have a lot of good feedback from people, positive critiquing, things that are going to make it better, and also things that we saw that just were completely horrible. But that'll be another feedback session in the future. So we're hoping to maybe, I think, Vex, look at doing this bi-weekly kind of thing. Is that correct?
Yeah, we'll see how it goes and see how many guys want to keep up with it. But we'll probably do a minimum bi-weekly, and then we'll roll this into the actual red flag scenario for about a month and a half or 2 months.
Okay. Well, if you guys can roll up to the, just click on the Mission G01 channel and pull up my slides. Go up to the first slide, GOW Red 1. I think it's 2020 North. I'm just going to run off of that. So basically, the way these things are going to run off, we got a roll call. We said 425 is in the house, 146, 157, and 65th. So these are the guys that we're hoping to hear from today. We got a time hack. We're calling that 13:05 right now for the mission time. Again, start is at 13:30 local. We're going to do a quick brief here for about 10 minutes, step to individual rooms at that point. And what we want to do is we want to step at 25 after the hour, so we can have like our first takeoff at about 13:30. Does that give the 65th enough time, 5 minutes for you guys?
Yeah, should be enough time.
Okay. I think everything's a hot start. Is that correct, Vex?
Cold start for the F-15s. I believe they need to cold start for our.
Okay, so 5 does work for you though, Arson?
Yeah, it should. 5 minutes should be sufficient.
Okay, cool. No worries then. Okay, weather. We talked about a few of the items that were asked for. Weather's a little thing that's out there again. 030, that's runway heading for the departure, 6 knots. Visibility at 10. Scattered layer at about 17,000. Altimeter's 3006. You got all that in the brief. Important thing for you guys, conning at about 29.5. So be aware of that. That may not be completely accurate, because testing on the same weather and altimeter settings before produce those results, but it seemed to vary from mission to mission sometimes. Okay, looking at this red flag thing, we get the mission overview. Basically, we're going to look at DCS objectives. The whole point of this one that we're doing here is, we're not starting off with the face punch and going top shelf on our very first mission. This one's going to be a milk run. It's basically, we want to see good coordination between the different individual squadrons, good coordination amongst our own flight members, and to try and see what we can wring out as far as like a good positive mission that is, 1, challenging for everybody, and 2, not too challenging that you could care less to come back the next time. And we'll build on each mission based on the kind of feedback we get from this. And this is stuff that you guys have done in all other mission multiplayer stuff. Okay, again, a mission objectives we said in there. Basically, we're looking at destroying the POL storage facility tanks for the Red Forces. But this is not to say that all facilities. So if it's just a building, not blowing up building. For that satellite view we had, there's 6 POL tanks and a couple small storage ones right next to it. But basically, those are what we're going after, is that 6-pack. And of course, any ground vehicles, tracked vehicles, SAM sites that are on the ground. Again, red air suppression is also one of our priorities as well. I don't have it on the objective other than saying blue for tar cap protection, but again, we had red air suppression as well as one of those things. Intel that we have still stands as the last several days that we had on the satellite passes. We have SA6s and 8s in the vicinity of the target, but we do have new information that there's an SA11 that has been moved in that we don't know if it's actually active, but let's plan on it being active. And as far as red air, right now we are experimenting with some stuff. We have an actual human aggressor that's going to be joining us, Red Sky. He actually does this stuff, and I think he lives and breathes it. He loves doing it. I don't want to sell him too hard here, but the best part is he knows how to tailor what needs to be done for red air so that it's challenging and yet at the same time not overwhelming. But then again, he's a single ship going up this time, and possible AI around with him as well. So we want to make sure that we want to build off of that as well. So we don't know exactly what kind of threat we're going to have today, but we might want to as well count that Tonopah would produce some kind of red air. Okay, ROEs for this event here, again, big ones are, okay, no facilities or structures. We want to hit the fuel tanks only in the ground vehicles at the SAM sites. For the air contacts, know that we have civilian air traffic out there. We want IFF or visual ID before we're knocking those things there. This is not Iran here, so we want to make sure that we're doing a positive ID on these things. We have civilian traffic in the area. We talked about doing the mod, the civilian air traffic mod. We'll do those in future ones so you can actually see a 737, 57 up there. And unfortunately, not everybody has that, so we had to make it so C-17s and C-130s right now are civilian traffic. So if you see those things and it's identified as a red air or blue air, just treat it as a civilian. So if it's a fighter, it's either us or the red guys. But if it's a transport, treat that as a civilian just for this one here. Okay, again, return hostile fire. That's a no-brainer right there. And again, we have our no-fly container boxes, and that'll be in the next slide. Those are 4808, Alpha Bravo Charlie, and 65 Alpha is depicted in orange. Let's go ahead and bring up the route slide if you can do that for yourselves. Next time I'm going to have the ability to bring up actual slides for everybody. Okay, depicted there on our route, you can see 4808 Alpha Series, or the Series Alpha Charlie is the big one not to go through. And additionally to that, and I think you guys got that streaming for us. Nope. Okay, nothing yet.
Sorry, the products?
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Just the big thing is just follow along with the slides that I have in the missions G001 right now, because I don't have the ability today to bring them up for you guys.
If you follow Popov's live feed in Discord, he's got the route slide up at this time, sir.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Popov.
Fait plaisir.
Give everybody a chance to jump up there, and then we'll continue. Okay, again, showing depicted in orange, there are restricted areas, no-fly zone, don't go in there. Obviously, real world, it would be a you're done with your career. Here, we don't care, but let's at least try to keep it somewhat realistic. Okay, everybody's departing out of Nellis Air Force Base down to the south there. Blue Force route, we have a standard departure that is out of Nellis, and we'll talk about that shortly here. One of the things that we want to do for our standard departure, again, we want to do, it's going to be runway heading up to 3,000 feet and out to 5 DME, and then you're going to be cleared on course. The takeoff that we're going to have on routing is we're going to have snake flight taken off at 1330, followed 5 minutes later by Diamond, and then 10 minutes after, which would be 1340 Lark, and 1345 will be Heat. And that's a change to the very last slide that I updated the other day. Okay, flight plan routes we have, again, following the blue line, is all the way out through Sally's Alley, up through Trout, which is 0.4 for most of us. I think all of us, actually, as we're heading out towards 0.4. And what we'll do at that point is check in on Blackjack frequency. We don't have any controllers today, but we'll call range control Blackjack at 265.0. And on, I think, that slide, what we do is we have that as listed as button 3 for a lot of presets. Now, Blackjack's going to also be our strike control frequency for both the Lark and Heat flight, and we'd also like to make sure that when those guys are staying on it, that either Diamond or Snake is coming back and coordinating with the strikers, letting them know that the area is clear on that. Okay, for Snake flight, heading up, once they check Trout, they're cleared direct up to, I think it's waypoint 4, which is their eastern point of the cap as depicted. Waypoint 5 is going to be the most western part of the cap, so it'll give you guys a couple of points to move back and forth. Obviously, those are starting points for you guys, maneuver as necessary per tactical situation. We have not depicted on this screen here, and I wish I had done it. That's something I forgot. Is the bullseye, and for Eagle, the Eagle flights, we have waypoint 6 depicted for bullseye, and we just updated that. Thank you, Vex. But the bullseye itself is going to be called Taco, and I gave coordinates in the very last slide. We'll see that again, and it is basically the circle menu. I think it's the circle crops that are right over by Rachel. So those ones are just north of the container box of 4808 Alpha. I think a lot of people are familiar with those as being a good visual reference point. Okay, Snake, we're going to have you flight level 280 as you're starting, and you can maneuver as you need at that point. Your primary frequency is going to be FAD1, which is going to be magic on 251.0. I believe that is also going to be button 18 on the presets. That'll give your AI AWACS, and again, the coordination will have some flights monitoring that as well. So if you guys are calling out threats on there, we're able to hear it as well and be able to coordinate.
Okay, do you need us to talk on that Blackjack to check in with Blackjack?
What we'd like to do is everybody's going to monitor Blackjack. So if you come in and you check in on Blackjack and then switch over, I'm okay with that. But you don't need to monitor it unless you decide to come over and tell the strikers, hey, you've got problems and here's what's coming. You might want to come check in on that.
Yeah,
otherwise, you guys stand FAD1.
We have like 2 channels.
Yeah, you have to bounce back and forth. So yeah, you have your inner flight that you're going to do, but then if stay primary on FAD1, and then you can come back to us
And
if you guys
FAD1 is the 2510.
That's correct, and that'll be your AWACS as well. Will that be a hindrance?
As long as we know what to do there. We'll check in on the, and it was 2650 is the Blackjack?
Blackjack is 265.0.
Yeah.
Diamond Flight will be second takeoff. Again, your flight level is 270, and you are assigned with the seed. Again, any reach out and touch you kind of stuff, we got SA-11-8 depicted on the yellow threat ring. 11 has been reported, and we'd expect a much bigger threat ring, so heads up. When you guys do make your strike, and if you do confirm stuff is down, 11 would obviously be your primary target to try and do that. Let the strikers know on Blackjack. Lark, your flight level will be 250. Heat is 260. These are for altitude deconfliction, again, in and around the area. So, as said earlier, Snake will go directly to the cap, and the strikers and the seed will move in past point 4 Trout, and we'll kind of rally in the area of Caliente Bravo, which is steer point 5, waypoint 5 for us. Just a general area. You don't need to hit that point, but it's a good place to us to rally and then move forward. So again, Snake will be on the area, looking to desaturate the area for any air threats and sanitize it. Diamond will move in and then take care of any of the surface air threats. And then Lark and Heat will move in and then start dropping precision bombing.
Lark copies all.
All right, just go down to the next slide. If 2 slides down, actually, please. Okay, so big overview that we had there, showing the area. Again, we got some small arms threats on the ground, ZSU-23, probably some man pads as well. There's the SA-6 or 8 that we're thinking about, and then the POL tanks are depicted in the circle, and then you can see north depicted. And next slide, please. Just a blow-up view of it. Next slide, please. Actually, I think you need to go back 2 for me.
Yeah, maybe there's a delay. You want
Or yeah.
view?
Yeah, the comm. I think it's the last one, the comm card. There you go, comm plan. Thank you. Okay, so for the comm plan, again, we want Lark and Heat. At least one guy. Those Lark and Heat flights are going to be actually on. We said it was going to be Blackjack frequency for the strike common. We want at least one guy in each flight to be probably monitoring FAD1, and that will at least give us the opportunity for hearing any air threats that we would need. Okay, bullseye, as we said, is going to be Taco, north 37, 38, 47, west 115, 48, 23 is on the bottom. It's the second to last one. No, last point. Again, Rachel circle crops. I think it's just a good visual depiction there. Okay, tankers. Something I didn't put on here other than saying that North 61 X-ray. We got two sets. We got a boom and a drogue up in north, and we got a boom and a drogue in the east. They're both running 61 X-ray and 67 X-ray respectively, and there's their frequencies. Typically what you would do is you'd have different ones, but we've just simplified it. So when you come up, if you need to get gas, 61's to the north, 67's to the east, 2, and then the frequency for that corresponds with the TACAN. And then the booms are higher at 25,000 and drogues are lower. Go ahead.
Yeah, if I may, just for deconfliction, the TACAN is attached to the ARCO, which is the boom tanker at 26, and Texaco will be the drogue tankers at 25. So the TACAN will get you into the area, and then you'll need to visually acquire the lower tanker if you're an F-18, or if you're the Eagles or Vipers, you'll step up and follow the TACAN direct in.
Okay, good point. Thanks, Tony. And yeah, the way that it's designed is just to get you in the general vicinity, and then you sort out what you need, high or low.
So what altitudes? The briefing here says 25,000, and he just said 26,000 for Arco with the boom.
Yeah, I believe the actual in-game set is 26 for the Arco boom and 25 for the Texaco drogue. So bump those 1,000.
Roger that.
Okay, looking for the, like we said, airspace saturation with the tar cap, seat strike, clear the way on the ground, strike moves in. We don't want to loiter too long for the strike. We want to hit the stuff, move out. Again, last guys out are probably going to be the, there's going to be snake flight, again, covering everybody. And RTP, when we come back in, if we can move up one slide, please. Again, Blue Force route is going to be 0.4 trout is your exit out of the gate. And then you can dial up, I think it's button 1 for the frequency for, and this is where you're going to help me out, Vex. I'm not sure what we have as far as the frequency for Nellis. All I know is that it's button 1. 305 is what we've been using for a common, but we'll just call that tower. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. Vipers are all button 1 on COM 1 is default to Nellis.
Okay, back down through Sally's Alley, and then peeling off at 0.6 to the east puts you out to what we said is Acton, puts us in a standard arrival. What we're looking for is 2-1 left for local procedures. And if anybody doesn't have local procedures for future use, we have them, a lot of stuff on the share drive. It's all Eagle Dynamics stuff that they put out for the red flag stuff, and that's actually drawn from a lot of the red flag procedures and stuff that they have out there for the weapon school. All right, any questions or attacks on this?
Just for the annex, I don't know what comms plan page it is, but it's the re-attacks. So if we wanted to, could we not loiter in the vicinity of the target area? Or do you want us to go through the waypoints, waypoint 3 and 6 through Trout?
You're going to be departing out of Nellis, is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. So we're going to do Nellis and then head on up to waypoint 5 and then start talking with Diamond.
That's correct. And then once the area is clear, unless you want to be dodging missiles, I guess just wait till they clear the area, and then you go in, and then it's direct back to point 4 without hitting the container of restricted airspace.
Yeah, so you just want us to do a 1 pass, is that right?
Well, you can do a couple passes, but I'm just saying let's not hang out there for half an hour just offloading all our ammunition for small moving vehicles and stuff. Big thing is hit the POL tanks and any opportune targets, and then kind of come back. Otherwise, we don't want to make this a 2.5-hour mission.
Yeah, no, it's not my intent to get in a wheel like an A10 and be there for 3 hours. So we'll do no more than a couple passes.
Cool. Yeah, and I think that's exactly the intent we want to hit there.
For Snake, do you want us to hang out at the tanker until push time, or do you want us jumping in the cap ahead of time?
How do you guys feel about this? Because everything basically hinges off of what you guys can do to sanitize the airspace for us.
Yeah, I don't mind flowing towards the cap on our own time frame. By the time we get done tanking, you guys will be showing up at the tank, and then we'll get out there and start taking a look at everything, deconflicting civilian traffic, and looking for this Bandito Rojo.
Yeah, the lone red star. All right, just be advised that the tankers, when we run this, we've watched the tankers kind of wander a little bit. So I know that the way they've scripted this, they say, hey, stick in this area for those that have built missions before. But
Hey,
for some reason, we see them move.
For Snake, also, exact vol times. When are you guys going to actually be rolling in time on top? And then what time do you anticipate last...
From 1350 to 1500, so 50 minutes after, or 20 minutes after takeoff, basically you're up in the area until about 1500. Whereas seed was going to start at 1415 and strike TOT 1430, plus or minus some minutes. The idea is that we're all going to based off of how well we can move through and knock some air threats out and some ground threats, and then we can move in quicker. So if we're able to be efficient about that, we'll roll with whatever you guys are pressing us to do.
Okay, so you need us to declare the area is clear and to flow through?
Yeah, it sounds like it's a black and white thing. It's your guys' call to say, hey, we're saturated, stay back, or hey, it looks good, there might be a couple rogue guys out there. Come on up and we'll watch for you, kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Okay, so what I would probably propose is assume it's clear, and unless we have to deviate from that plan, we'll give you a heads up, say, hey, delay 2 for Bandit. Got a 2 ship over here, and we'll call when they're dead or whatever.
Okay, that sounds good. Then let's press with what you guys going straight to cap, get your site picture set up, and Diamond, when you guys hit Trout, you guys are cleared direct to the target area and start working it from there. And then just give us a call when you see the area is clear from SAM sites.
Copy that for Diamond.
Okay, any question marks in anybody's head? Okay, let's take 5 minutes, and we're rolling about 5 minutes late here. Let's take 5 minutes down into your own individual squadron channels.
Hey.
You can discuss a few things if you need. Go ahead.
Ghost, did you have something?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm still confused, and I hate being confused. But okay, so your timeline is the seed starts at 1415. At which point, have we actually cleared something according to this mission, or are we embedded with your seed or near your seed? You want us to escort the seed in, and then after they take out the SAMs, we take things out? Because you're saying,
go ahead.
You're saying it's our call, but you have a specific timeline in there. So
I do, and only because that it's a timeline to give us something to work with. It doesn't mean that it's it's not written in blood, and it's driven by basically circumstances and how things develop. To tell you the truth, so if you guys are comfortable moving out on the cap and watching the area right away, and we move the seed package in right away, you guys work together and they can work the ground before we decide to better picture whether or not the strikers can move in at that point. Just know that I think the SA-11 site is probably going to be in on your waypoint 5, which is your westernmost cap turn point.
Okay.
I hope I answered that correctly.
I think that's clear enough for me for now.
Yeah, this is going to be rolling kind of information as we go. The biggest thing, like I said, just coordination amongst ourselves, saying, hey, this is what we've got going on, or hey, things are clear or not clear, that kind of stuff.
All right, password for the mission is G001, and we'll let everybody know when it's time to drop into that server.
All right, let's take 5 minutes, grab your other rooms, and let's actually make, it says for me is 6:30, or actually 6:27 p.m. I know it's different for other people, so it's 27 after the hour-ish. Make it 35, plan to jump in and get ready to take off. And we'll call that the 13:30 for the takeoff once the sim starts.